home team 0-5 in this playoff battles between the Baltimore Ravens and them, and the season is done. So Titans didn't necessarily come out the way. Well, they came out the way that many thought they may. Came out, and the first possession didn't really go very well offensively. Defensively, they went well. Then the second series, of course, score a touchdown. Then they get a field goal. You start thinking, hey, things are going to get going for the Titans. From there, the Baltimore Ravens got comfortable. They scored 10 straight points, capped off by Lamar Jackson jaunt to the end zone off of a drop back pass. And from there, he did his thing. I mean, the Ravens, they basically contained the Tennessee Titans today. The Titans really couldn't get the play action pass going or the pass game really going as much as they usually would. And now they're going home. Looking at the game, of course, Lamar Jackson was lethal. 16 carries, 136 yards, and a touchdown. Also, with him, he was passing the ball. He had one interception, which that was early in the game. It was almost like a long punt at that point. But he made some nice passes. One thing that nobody really talks about is Lamar Jackson's passing. He's passing from different angles, whether it be the sidearm or stuff like that. And he was just definitely completing those passes, putting them in being accurate with the ball as well. So, for as much as people talk about his running the football, he was pretty accurate throwing the football as well, with different angles as well. Using, guys like Hollywood Brown, who had 100 yards receiving today, and, Mark Andrews, and just definitely doing his thing. Thanks for tuning in, Brian, and thank you for the award. For those that aren't tuning in on the Haps app, hey, go ahead and join in. Go ahead and join in the Haps app and sign up. You got a lot of different people talking sports, talking politics, talking music. Like my guy Brian jumps on here and he talks Ravens football and some NBA as well. I'm looking forward to his NBA talk eventually as well on here. A big thing for the Titans today and a big thing for the Titans all season offensively has been Derrick Henry. The 2,000-yard rusher was, of course, number one on their board, the Ravens board of things to stop. And they definitely did so. 18 carries, 40 yards, no touchdowns. He just couldn't get on track today. And, I give credit to the Ravens defense. The Ravens defense was setting the line of scrimmage on the other side of the ball. That's not what they did the first time they played. And in doing that, Derrick Henry never had any lanes to run in, and, he just never really could get going. A lot of times with Derrick Henry, he doesn't really get touched until he's like 1 or 2 yards down the field in terms of the other side of the line of scrimmage. Today wasn't the case. Calais Campbell, Brandon Williams made a huge, huge difference up front for the Ravens. And they were hungry today. They felt, I believe they felt embarrassed because of what happened last game. And they wanted to come out and make a statement this game. As far as passing the football, that last pass, Ryan Tannehill was throwing the football to Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond slips, Marcus Peter picks it off, runs it back a little bit, and then they go dancing on the logo. Let's address dancing on the logo. If you're a Titans fan and you're mad that they danced on the logo, you really shouldn't be. The Titans did the same thing in Baltimore. And, it is what it is. If you dish it out, you got to take it too. And there's no really reason to be mad, talk about it's disrespectful, things like that. Hey, Titans did the same thing and talk trash to the coach and everything. So all spirit and love of football is all I can say on that one. As far as the play, if he would have looked to his left, A.J. Brown was wide open for a touchdown. He would have pretty much coasted into the end zone on that play. However, Ryan Tannehill was zoned in on the other side of the field. Khalif Raymond slips, and there you go. That cannot happen. You have to see the whole field, and it is what it is. The play happened, and Titans lost the game. Um, as far as what the Titans need offensively, of course they need health with Taylor Lewan, and they definitely missed him this year. They were on their third offensive tackle in David Quisenberry this year, and they were missing Lewan. He's one of the most athletic tackles in the NFL, and it showed that they missed him because they missed his attitude in the game. So, definitely missed him there. As far as the skill players, I'm not for sure Corey Davis is going to come back next year. I said that before the season, and I'm saying it again. The reason why I say that again now is because if you look at the last possession of the game, I'm not sure if he was injured or anything like that, but he looked a little frustrated on the sideline with his helmet off, not in the game on the last possession. So that's something that bears watching there as well. So Titans, get some health, get some more pieces to the puzzle, some signings, which I'll talk about that in a later, uh, a later broadcast, and we'll go from there. Another big thing to watch for is Arthur Smith, the Titans offensive coordinator, is on all six teams there's six teams that need a head coach, and he's on the list for all of those teams. Big possibility that he does not come back next year, and that the Titans are looking for an offensive coordinator for the third time in the Mike Vrabel era. For those who don't know, the coach of the Green Bay Packers was the offensive coordinator before Arthur Smith was, and Arthur Smith was his tight end coach before he was the offensive coordinator. Um, Defensively, this game, the Titans got a lot of sacks. They got 5 sacks, 4 or 5 sacks. They were back in the backfield a lot, and that would deceive you and make you think that they were this defense all season. They weren't. They came out and played well to start the game. Then they just couldn't hold it up. Of course, they were on the field probably a little bit more than what they would probably like to be, but they did what they did as best as they possibly could. Just unfortunately, it just wasn't good enough. The explosive plays from Lamar Jackson, Hollywood Brown making plays, Mark Andrews, and it just is what it is. And they did the best they could, and unfortunately, it was not enough. The third down conversions, they weren't quite as bad, but they still weren't great either. You have pass defense that wasn't as great. And of course, Titans fans, I'm going to get into that one question or one thought that many of you were talking about on Twitter. Just give me a second. As far as the guys bringing pressure, you had Jack Crawford and Dayton Jones, things like that. And the guys were playing their lanes early on when it came to Lamar Jackson and the running plays that they were trying with him. They were staying in their lanes. They were limiting him to the yardage, limiting him on the yardage that he got, and they were kind of keeping him in check. But when that one play happened where he took off down the middle of the field and ran for a touchdown, that from there the Titans didn't do a very good job of containing him. They did a okay job, but they still gave up a lot of big plays and a lot of crucial plays in the game. As far as the passing game, of course, Hollywood Brown had a good game. He got open, he caught the ball, he did his thing. But the one guy that I will say that hurt the Titans this game, Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson hasn't been playing the entire season for the most part. I think it was a knee injury he was dealing with. Then he comes back and he plays. He has a pretty good game the first time, kind of subbing him in and out. Then they decide to start him. And at that point, they started targeting him over and over again, especially in this game. Anytime that the Ravens completed passes, I don't know if many people noticed, but majority of that was to Adoree Jackson's side, whether it be Ricard, the fullback, whether it be Mark Andrews, or whether it be Hollywood Brown. They were going at him at all times and exposing him. Now, he had one play where, Lamar Jackson got pressured and they threw a deep pass, and of course, they didn't complete that. But other than that, anytime they wanted to, they went at Lamar Jackson. And I see Bill is happy for his Ravens, and hey, congratulations to the Ravens on a big win. Um, you know, as far as the Titans defensively next offseason, pass rush. They got to find one. They tried with Jadeveon Clowney and Big Beasley Jr. Neither one of those guys worked out. Big Beasley got cut before we were halfway through the season, and Jadeveon Clowney knee injury and was out for the season. Good thing was both those guys were on one-year deals, so you won't see their cap hit next year. So the Titans can try again with that money, or they can use that money on other free agents on their team, which we'll talk about in another broadcast. But as far as defensively, they just couldn't consistently bring any pressure at all, which hurt them this season defensively. And just they were out of position a lot during the entire season, and that hurt. You've got to be in position. You've got to make the plays when you're in that position, and you just cannot be a team that gives up so many first downs on third down. They were one of the worst teams in the NFL on third down conversions defensively. They gave it up a lot. They did. It just is what it is. Well, Tennessee. So I got a comment from Twitter. I said Tennessee is tough. Tennessee, Tennessee is tough offensively. Defensively, they've got some work to do. Definitely. Um, as far as rushing the passer, they don't really have anybody to consistently do that. When your top pass rusher has 4.5 sacks or 5.5 sacks for the season, you got a problem. You got a problem defensively. As far as anything else, defensive back, you definitely got to look at another cornerback going into next year. I know they have some young cornerbacks, but we'll see if they decide to develop them, the ones outside of Adoree Jackson, or if they decide to go in the draft and get another defensive back. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, the Titans losing home in the playoffs, and they're going home. Hey, it was an early end for them, and it is what it is. And hey, they had a great regular season, but it doesn't count with the regular season. It counts in the postseason. Titans didn't finish, and it is what it is. It'll be interesting. One thing that'll be interesting is if Arthur Smith leaves, what the offense will look like next year. If I'm a betting man, I don't think you'll see Derrick Henry he'll be the focal point, but I don't think you'll see him getting 25, 30 carries a game. You'll probably see a little bit more rotational work in terms of the running back situation next year. Just one little snippet of information I'll give you before I go over the Titans overview of the season. Again, I'm Mike Patton. I cover the Titans for the three-point conversion. You can check my workout on threepointconversion.com. That's the number 3pointconversion.com. We'll be getting ready to do the divisional rounds, doing the previews for those. Those will be coming momentarily this week, as well as we do NBA talk as well. Just thank you all for tuning in. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Mike Patton82. That's Mike Patton, Patton 82 on Twitter. Thank you for your time, and you all have a great night.